Well, hello everyone. This is Bobby coming to you from the oh so distant future. So this one's pretty goddamn late, gotta say. So we recorded this episode. This is episode 8 on September 27th, and at the time you're recording this little monologue, it's 10:58 at night on October 16th. So yeah, sort of my fault this didn't come out. As many may know at this point, I'm a college student full time. And things just got crazy busy. So a couple things happened. One, the main reason for this was that just I had a crazy week, and then my school has a fall break that I return home for, and I don't have, or well, I didn't at the time. I now have a brand spanking new laptop, which is a lot of fun to play with, but I didn't have a workstation at home to do any of my editing, so I was not able to get this out in time. Probably would have relied on the other guys to do it, but I just didn't, and that's kind of on me. So apologies for dropping the ball on this one. So some of the stories you may hear, I can't remember which ones to talk about, to be quite honest with you on this, but maybe out of date. So just take it with a grain of salt, and remember, always do your own research. Something I always advocate for any stories you're talking about. Go do your own research and figure that out. So note real quick that episode 8 was released, and the night after this is made public, episode 9 will be coming out a little late on that one as well, but that was recorded last week, so I'm not too late. I'm usually at the schedule. So I'm going to try my best to get back on the same schedule. I've done pretty good with recording and being able to edit almost right after, and being able to upload it within a week or so that most of the stories we have kind of stay up to date. We don't have any things that are kind of going to bust our opinions. So again, sorry about that. I'm a full-time student, got a job. This isn't my job. This is something that, I do for free, and I absolutely love doing. Just things get in the way sometimes, that's all. So going to try my best to get back to the normal schedule. We'll be doing episode 10 very, very soon. And also in this episode, we mentioned the NHL season preview. Me and Tyler mentioned it. And at the time of this going public, it's been out probably for like a week or two at this point. So go check it out. Me and Tyler break down all teams in the NHL and discuss where we think their team is going to go for the 2018-2019 season. Be sure to watch this episode, and be sure to go watch episode 9, episode 10 very soon. And any of our other videos that we've posted recently, we're starting to expand to newer content, something we keep talking about on the podcast. We're still working on logistics on what exactly we want to be doing, but we have released other content. So please be sure to go check that out. Otherwise, enjoy the episode. Sorry for the lateness. My fault. Trying to get better at this. I know I've done a pretty good job thus far. And continue to support us. Thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.
Everybody, and welcome back to episode 8 of the podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk about Fortnite and PS4 becoming cross-platform. We're going to talk about the roughing the passer calls in the NFL, which has been destroying the league, and we're going to give our Week 4 predictions for the NFL. And on this episode, everybody's here. Everybody's back. Say what's up, guys.
What's up, guys?
Everybody say what's up at the exact same time. Jesus.
And we're gonna start off the show with a new segment. Our boy Zach, he's a thinker. He's out here thinking, and he's got a thought of the week for us. So Zach, I want to give it to you and enlighten us of what you're thinking this week.
All right. So you get $4,000 per month, right?
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
But once per month, like one day per month, the Flyers mascot comes to your house. He can come at any time, within a 24-hour period. He can come at any time, could be 3 a.m. He can do whatever he wants in your house for one day.
For how long? Like a whole 24 hours?
Yes, a whole 24 hours, once per month.
So he can show up at 3 a.m. and basically be there. You have to go to work in the morning, and you have to just leave him there. You might have a dog there. He might eat it by the time you come back, man.
No, he's not gonna hurt you or anything. He's just
Okay.
creepy as fuck.
He's gonna do whatever he wants. That's like not gonna hurt you.
Okay. $4,000 for this. I just imagine like
every month.
Imagine like you're having like a romantic evening like with your significant other,
God.
right? Like imagine that, and you're having a good time, and then you look in the corner, and there he is watching. And what's worse is that he has the googly eyes, so those shine through the window. Oh my god, you can make a movie out of this, dear God. Oh man, you know what? I would do it.
I'd probably do it.
I mean, that's $4,000.
Dude, what if he shows up and he has to like shit really bad? Or something?
Oh my god! You like? What if that's how he shows up? Right? You walk into the bathroom, you gotta take a shit, and then he's just in there, just completely blasting your toilet. Like, what do you even do?
What if he's there all day?
I'm gonna go upstairs. You stay here.
There's one toilet in my apartment, so if he's in there, we're fucked.
I'm going. So there's construction happening outside. I'm gonna go use the porta potty that the construction workers use, and we'll call it a day. Please try not to hurt anybody or break anything, please.
I don't know about this, man.
$4,000 a month, man. That's a full-time job. Like my job is letting this guy.
Yeah, really.
Else.
I have never seen that amount of money in a paycheck in my life. So that's kind of hard to pass up. So
I mean, if you think about it, like it's about
after a while you get
$50,000 a year,
right?
Would you do it for $50,000 a year, where he's in your house for?
I was about to say, could I get a raise?
Like, that's a scary proposition.
I mean, it's
$50,000 a year, but he's there all the time.
I'd take it if it's one day.
Because 4,001. That's $2,000 more dollars for him to be there all the time.
That's I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I would consider it if the beard wasn't like looking like Jake Voracek and the eyes weren't googly.
I'd do it. I'd leave him there all the time for like $5 million because I can just build a huge house and.
You know what, Zach?
Just put him in your pool house.
Knowing you'd have him as a pet. So.
No, but if he shows up with a t-shirt gun, though, run.
Yeah. My final decision.
Who wants a t-shirt? Ow, my eye!
I couldn't do it. We're gonna talk about him later in the show because I actually have some interesting takes from some, being in the Philly area. There's a lot of people that have stuff to say about it.
His name is fucking Gritty. Show him some respect.
Gritty and shitty, whatever, same thing.
Yeah, gritty motherfucker.
I see you watch that video too.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, like I said. The way I'm explaining it is he looks like an escaped convict from Sesame Street. Like, that's the only way I can say it because that's what he looks like. And he also looks like Oscar the Grouch's drug dealer. But either way.
I think we found out who his drug dealer is, though. More on that later. All
right. I like that. All right, we're going to move on to our quick picks here.
Oh, wait. So what are the votes?
No chance.
I'm in.
I would do it.
No, I would do it, man. Yeah.
3-1. Tyler, fuck you.
Tyler, you're an idiot.
That's usual. All right, we're going to move on to our quick picks here. I'm going to send it right over to Bobby. This is one of his favorite games. But Rocket League is in a new season 9, and he has the patch notes from the game.
You're goddamn right I do. I fucking love this game. This is the game I end up grinding besides NHL. I mean, I'm still only Plat 1, which is okay. I'm still not diamond level yet. I'll get there eventually, but I gotta learn how to actually hit the fucking ball first. But anyway, so all right. So reason why season 9 is big. It's big for a few reasons. So the first thing is that before this update, Rocket League announced a lot of different things that are coming in for quality of life reasons. More so the big thing that's coming out, it's not here yet with the season 9 update, but it will be coming out soon, is the cross-platform. So originally, PC and PlayStation players can party up and play competitive modes and online and everything like that. PC and Xbox cannot do that. They can party up through private match servers, but that means you're playing against bots all the time, which gets very boring, which is why I own it for both Xbox and PC, because I play on both, and I have friends who play on both. So That'll be coming out soon. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. But for the patch notes, this is version 1.53, which is the Season 9 update. So headlines really are coming straight from Rocket League's website. Hot Wheels Rivals Arena is now available in casual playlists, tournaments, private matches, and offline matches. I haven't seen this yet because I play mostly competitive. So I haven't really gotten a chance to check into this yet. So I'm sure I'll bring that up at some point. Competitive season 8 ended and rewards were given out, which were rocket boosts for depending on your rank, how many you got. So I didn't get one for plat, but I don't think I did. I got one for gold though, and bronze, which doesn't make any sense to me. But they're pretty cool and they sound cool, so I put them on my cars. Season 9 began for competitive, so go do your placement matches. I did most of mine on Xbox, but I'm only like halfway done on PC. They released.
We know you did. We heard you.
Oh yeah. Monster Cat also released another volume of their Monster Cat Rocket League music playlist and what have you. So I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I'm slow reading. So there's a lot of just new cosmetic stuff coming out. But the main thing I just wanted to point out is that they also added extra modes, extra competitive modes, which was the big thing. So now they have competitive drop shot, competitive hoops, which me and my roommate play hoops all the time. So we've been waiting for a competitive version. We started playing yesterday, and I think we finished last night like 3-1 or something. Finally starting to see some players who actually know how to play hoops. Usually you just run into people who are just like, hey, I just got the game and I want to play basketball. But there's that. And also they have 3v3 Rumble, which, oh my God, I haven't played it yet, but that's going to be fucking mayhem. If you haven't played Rumble, that's basically, it's Rocket League with power-ups, and it's ridiculous. And we also have 3v3 Snow Day, which is basically hockey. I haven't done that yet, but I don't play hockey all that much, but it is pretty fun. It's more grounded play.
How ironic.
Yep. And there are unique MMRs for all of them, so you have to do placement matches for every mode if you're trying to, get a rank in all of them. So it's 10 placement matches, and you'll get ranked, and then you'll just climb up, as it is for 3v3s and doubles and solos and all that stuff. And they will all those players will also contribute to the season reward level. So if you reach Platinum 1, you will get the Platinum rewards in at the end of the season. And those extra modes have actually been. I don't think I realized this. Those extra modes have actually been removed from casual playlists, so you can't even play those modes as casual anymore. You can play those as just competitive only, which I don't even think I realized that yesterday. But so that's new.
I don't know.
I don't know how I do either. But at the same time, I mean, it's like if you're gonna play, try a little bit. But I know a lot of people. I feel like there's no difference between casual and competitive anymore. Casual is like not even used.
I feel like casual is more difficult than competitive. That's just me, though.
Well, because you run into teammates who are all over the place. Like, I mean, I feel like what they're trying to do is they put it in competitive so that it forces the game to match with like players, right? So, if you're a certain MMR, you'll get ranked or you'll get matched with people of unique skill levels. So it's not like you go into casual and you're this experienced player and you're playing against a guy who just downloaded the game an hour ago. You know what I mean? That's probably what they were trying to do. That's probably why they did it. So it's all right. I mean, I don't care. I probably won't get ranked in all of them. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm guessing that was their mindset. And yeah, that was basically it. But the big thing that I'm still waiting on is the whole cross-platform thing. And once that comes out, we'll definitely talk about it. But actually more on cross-platform stuff later. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So that's all.
I mean, I'll just kind of put my 2 cents in. Like, I am a very I'm a very casual player when it comes to Rocket League. I think it's a fun game, but like I don't play it that often. But like, like one of the things I do a lot is I play the hockey mode, like just as casual because, I mean, I'm not saying I'm bad at the game, but I'm not good, right? And like the whole thing about it, no, honestly, like when I was back in the day when I was playing, it was actually all right, but I haven't played it in so long. But the thing that always trips me up, which is like why people are so good at it, is like the aerial stuff, and like the hockey was more grounded, and that's why I kind of liked it more. So that's kind of that's where I was at with that. But yeah, I mean, I always thought. I mean, we've seen it with everything. In terms of like tournaments and stuff like that. Like this is a game that's almost like made for being competitive. So I mean, I thought eventually they would go this route where it looks like that's where they're transitioning to altogether almost. But as a casual player, I'm just saying my sense because we like literally we're completely opposite on this. So I just wanted to get a different perspective. Like you play all the time, and I would say you're a competitive player, and then like I am not. Like
Yeah,
I'm just casual. So
I'll just say it's been a while since I've actually like played a game competitively. Like I used to play competitive Hearthstone, and I was pretty decent. But I kind of quit that because of money, and it costs a lot, especially with all the new expansions they come out with. Which I still love the game. I just don't play it anymore. But yeah, I mean, I really like the game. I seriously think that if someone who knows next to nothing about esports, if they ever wanted to just watch an esport, I feel like Rocket League's the perfect transition, like the perfect like introductory esport, because it's basically soccer, just with cars, right? I mean, It's really not. There's, CS:GO and League of Legends are probably the top esports, right? So, but those are games that, like, if somebody who knows next to nothing about video games or esports, they're going to watch that and be like, what in the actual fuck am I watching? But, like, they watch something like Rocket League where really the only mechanic is that you are a car and you have boost, and you have a boost that you can get in the air with. That's really it, right? So somebody can watch that and they might even begin the esports, and it's easy to understand. And I kind of like it that way. I mean, I like elaborate games, but the sporty feel of Rocket League really draws me. And so that's the game I've been taking very, very seriously over the past, 8 months or so. Yeah, I don't know. I love that game. I get pissed off at it a lot, as I'm sure these guys will tell you. But overall, I love the game. Those stupid.
How did I miss that?
How did I miss that? Why is my teammate sitting in the corner? Why don't I have any boost?
The other night it was just you yelling at your teammate. Poor teammate, probably just got the game.
Well, it was we were talking.
12.
Yeah, well, like it was right when season 9 went live. So of course I'm like, oh well, I got to go in and see what my rewards are, and I got to see everything else and whatever. And of course I'm like, let's do a couple of my placements. And of course my first one is when of course with the new update, new competitive season, everyone comes on for like a week. So you run into a variety of players, especially in the placement matches. So it was like, yeah, fuck you and you and you, and go to hell. And then whatever. I can't carry the team on my back, especially in this stage, but whatever. Okay.
All right, next topic. Some more video game stuff. Big one. Telltale Studios coming out the other day. I believe it was announced in a staff-wide meeting that they are closing down the company. They laid off about 200 employees. And the interesting thing about that, as we were just reading, is they're not getting a severance for it, which we will talk about. Basically, they have 25 employees left just to finish off one final project, which is Minecraft Story Mode.
And that's allegedly, by the way.
Yeah, allegedly. This is from let me see. Oh, this article we're looking off of is from, how do you say it? I don't know.
Kotaku, and Jesus Christ. I was looking up an article for our other topic, and the audio just blared in my ears and scared the ever-living shit. Oh my god.
But yeah, that's excuse me, that's allegedly. But yeah, the interesting. So I seen this article the other day, or I seen this story the other day rather, because when you were talking about it. But then we just seen now about them not getting severance, which is kind of fucked. So yeah, I mean, what's your guys? I know Bobby had stuff to say about this. What's your take on it?
Well, so first I want to read the
company statement. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two I want to read. So the first one was released on the 21st, and this was their talk about shutting its doors. So this was on Twitter. So it says, for immediate release, today Telltale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. A majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying on to fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners. CEO Pete Howley issued the following statement. It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry. Telltale will issue further comments regarding its product portfolio in the coming weeks. So, the line about we tried to set a company on a new course, but we ran out of time. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but for some reason that stands out. So I guess that I translate that to they wanted to do some different projects and other things and try and turn the company, like I said, in another direction, but they ran out of the funding for it. Is what it sounds like. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know all the
money.
Yeah, I don't know all the details. So Telltale, for those who don't know, I have not played any of their games. I may have played like one of the episodes of Walking Dead because I got it for free. But like my roommate grinds the hell out of them. He beat the Back to the Future one that they did. I think they did that, and then he's been playing the Walking Dead episode, and he's very upset about this because he thoroughly enjoyed that game. So with the news, the questions around the Walking Dead series came about. So this was supposed to be the final season anyway. So they released a statement 2 days ago saying, "Hi everyone, we have a Walking Dead update for you. Multiple potential partners have stepped forward to express interest in helping see the final season through to completion. While we can't make any promises today, we are actively working towards a solution that will allow episodes 3 and 4 to be completed and released in some form. In the meantime, episode 2 will release tomorrow, which was September 25th, across all platforms as planned, and we hope to have answers soon." So basically what they're saying is they'll release episode 2, but they have no guarantee that the final 2 episodes will be released. They're trying to basically find funding for it. So we'll keep looking into that, but that's it. You're basically going to be left on a big cliffhanger. But what I appreciate about their games was that they went for the story route, right? Which you see, I know a lot of gamers are multiplayer. Multiplayer is the biggest thing right now, right? I mean, playing with your friends. And why wouldn't it be, right? But there's something to be said for very, very good and deep campaigns. And I think Telltale was doing a good job of providing that. Especially, like I said, my roommate plays all these games, and he's a film major here at my college with me, and he's a writer. So he enjoys the hell out of stories. So being able to play through story the way he has been like the game for him. And it's why I like Outlast so much. When I was out, I played the hell out of that. I probably beat it like 2 or 3 times because I thought the story was just so interesting. Like the story of the mental hospital and the reporter and all the experiments. I love that shit. So, it's sad to see them go. Did you guys play any of their games at all? Like, I know Xbox released some of the episodes for free to everybody at some point, but
yeah, I never did. But like, I like those story type of games. Like, even I mean, I've said this before. Like, I'm a big sports video game person. So like, the NBA series with 2K, I always like their games because of like their career mode storylines. Like the game, like it adds some element, like games like that, there's a story to it. It kind of keeps you involved. Like it's like you're playing a movie almost. So
right.
I had never played those games. Like I know their big game was probably, I don't know, their biggest game. Would you say is probably Walking Dead? I would have.
Yeah, it's got to be Walking Dead.
I never played it, but I would imagine, I would imagine it was good just because, like I said, I like that. For anybody who likes, that kind of movie feel or like, like a storytelling. That's when those games are really good. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I never played them. I don't know about you guys though, Zach and Brendy.
Are you talking about The Walking Dead?
Yeah, well, any Telltale games
Telltale in general, but I know that like their big game is Walking Dead.
Well, I've never played The Walking Dead. I want to pull up a list of games that they have and see exactly what all they made.
I mean, their thing was like The Walking Dead. That was like their claim to fame.
Oh, they've made the Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to. That's what allegedly they're trying to finish up.
Gotcha.
Before they close their doors. But here's the thing that we haven't really mentioned yet. There's a lot of people who are upset at this, and I'm talking about more the employees. Like they were saying, one of them was saying that they were up till 3 a.m. the following the day before they got laid off, and he was one of the ones laid off. Which that just sucks.
There's
a lot of reasons.
I'm looking at their list of games. There's not necessarily one I played, so I would have to say Telltale Games is not necessarily a gaming company I'm familiar with in terms of playing their games.
Right. I remember I got a couple Xbox patches like, hey, here's episode 1 of The Walking Dead for free, with the gold or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of controversy around it because apparently they're not getting severance pay, and I think there's already lawsuits now. So it kind of sucks. I hope that another studio, some indie studio, can kind of do something similar to what they have done. Maybe since they're kind of looking for buyers for episode 3 and 4 of The Walking Dead, which I'm sure is going to even get more players now because of all the buzz that they're getting, because there's no such thing as bad publicity in this world anymore.
Yeah, really.
So I'm sure it'll get more players. So whoever provides the funding, if it's another company or something like that, then they may even just take it over in some way and be able to continue some of the series that Telltale were planning on doing. But to keep an eye on it. I'm just speculating at this point, so don't take my words to heart. But there's a lot of stuff going on, so it'll be interesting to see how this all goes down in the coming weeks. So yeah, there's that.
Yep. Like I said, I mean, I never got hands on with their games, but I know a lot of people like the Walking Dead series. So
right.
The big, I don't know what this says about me, but just the big thing I took away from that article was the whole severance thing. Like that is just such a shitty situation. It looks like. But
yeah, and it's obvious that a lot of the devs had some passion for writing these stories. Like they were basically storytellers. I mean, they were making a game based around a story. I mean, that's got to be the most fun thing. I mean, it's a creative process just to make a game, but be able to make a game based around like an in-depth and great drama story. Like that's got to be very fulfilling creatively.
Yeah, for sure. Next, we're going to talk about, well, it's just kind of an acknowledgement, honestly. Fortnite, I think it was back in July, had like it was like a birthday thing they were doing back then, but technically, the game.
That was a Save the World mode.
Yeah, that was a Save the World mode. The Battle Royale portion of it is now 1 year old. Today, which is when we're recording. You know what? You just added that in there, and that just reminded me. So we were supposed to record, we were planning on recording the podcast on my birthday, and now I'm pissed because I was so prepared to come on just hammered, and I just forgot about that, and now I'm kind of sad.
So his birthday was gonna be this Friday, so he was gonna be hammered, and then we were also gonna talk about season 6 for Fortnite. We probably would have gotten hands on at this point.
Yeah, because it's supposed to release Thursday. So maybe that's something we talk about next show. Because as of right now with Fortnite, like nothing has been like they're putting out a bunch of teasers, but nobody really knows what's going on.
Right.
So yeah.
The only thing is Cube, who they've called Kevin, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Melting in Loot Lake, and
why is everything that's like everything that doesn't have a name and then his name is Kevin? Like, the thing that came to mind for me was Up, and I'm trying to like that movie when that came out. Like they had there's a bird named Kevin. Like it's such a random name. Like why?
So okay, so I have no confirmation, but the first thing I think of online when it comes to Kevin, there's a infamous Reddit thread of this teacher basically. So it was an Ask Reddit thread. Someone asked something like, what was it? It was like what's a story that you have that no one would believe or something like that, or like what's a person that you know that you can't believe that they're real or something like that. So this teacher comes in and he's like, goes on this long thing about a former student of his who he called Kevin. I'm not sure if that's his real name. So you guys gotta go read it out. I might link it later, but it's so funny. He goes on this long thing about stupid things. He's like, he used to eat crayons or whatever, and like that the fact that his like, and this was like high school or middle school or something like that, and it was also like, oh, his parents showed up to the wrong school twice to pick him up. So
What?
yeah, so I will link this later, or I'll read it to you guys. It's freaking hilarious. This was years ago when this happened, and it's kind of became like an infamous Reddit joke. Like you'll see comments like "fucking Kevin" like randomly. And that's what it's referring to. That's the only thing that came to mind for me. But I don't know why they called it Kevin. I really don't know. Again, I'm not too in depth with Fortnite lore, so I have no idea. But yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
So they've been doing this whole cube thing the whole season, and people have had a lot of speculation, but like I don't want to report on anything yet because at this point it is speculation. Like Fortnite's doing a really good job of keeping things under wraps, I guess, because I mean we're looking at a release date for tomorrow, and not like I'm not even talking about like specifics. Like nobody has like a general idea of what direction the season is heading. It seems like.
So real quick, I just found the Reddit thread.
Okay.
Just for record, so it's 4 years old, and somebody the guy who posted it got 12 gold out of this. Which, if you know anything about Reddit gold, that's ridiculous. My favorite line. So he posts like the question originally was, "Who's the dumbest person you've ever met?" Okay, I thought it was a little more detailed than that. But, so he opens it with, "It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects, but 99.999% of the time they are keen on something. I thought this was the rule when I was teaching until I met Kevin. Kevin isn't his real name, but it doesn't matter because he can't spell it anyway." So it goes through this whole thing. So I'll read a couple of the things. I won't read all of them. You guys got to go find this Reddit thread. "Kevin frequently forgot when and where class was. On more than one occasion, I had to retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin ate an entire 24-pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day. This is 9th grade, and I have no idea where he got the crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me, his English teacher. This was a public school, and when I gave it back to Kevin voided to give his dad with a brief note explaining that this is a public school, Kevin got in trouble for trying to spend it at 7-Eleven after school. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire twice.
Wow.
Kevin threw his lunch at the school resource officer and tried to run away. He ran to a door and insisted it wasn't him.
Okay.
Kevin tased himself in the neck before a football game.
Yeah, people have too much time on their hands, man.
Kevin says the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. The high school was 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot." Dude.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Kevin spit on a girl and said, "You should get out of those wet clothes." The girl was the Spanish student teacher.
Oh my god.
Jeez,
Kevin,
man.
So I won't read the rest of it, but oh wait, the last one's my favorite. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident. I can only assume God was looking the other way that day.
Damn.
So my favorite comment to that post is, "I'm torn between this cannot be real and you can't make this shit up."
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy has too much time on his hands for giving this whole story. But hey, man, maybe it's never know.
Yeah,
it's true.
But yeah, we got to move on. But go find that Reddit thread. That was the first thing I thought of when I heard that the cube was named Kevin.
All right, we're gonna move on to some sports now. A sport we have never talked about on the show, because quite frankly, I love golf, but it's boring as hell to watch. But you couldn't miss this. Tiger Woods wins the Tour Championship for his first win in 5 years, and his 80th overall PGA Tour win. And it was honestly a pretty cool scene seeing him as people were going down to the 18th green, just like basically swarming down there to see Tiger. He finished the whole event shooting 11 under, and he was 1 over, I believe, on Sunday, but it was good enough to get the dub. It's crazy to see because you know what I said it's boring as hell to watch, but I love tuning into the big, like the Masters is always one of my favorite things to watch for golf. It's just hard for me to watch these smaller events, but I was growing up. I feel like this was the same thing for everybody. Like if you were a golf fan, you were watching Tiger because he was, the greatest. And
The
then
goat.
he obviously had some things happen in his personal life, and
Just a
that
few
was
things.
unfortunate. And
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate. All those drugs.
I highly recommend to go find the SNL skit of Tiger Woods.
Oh my God!
Right after that happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where it's basically Kenan Thompson playing Tiger Woods, and he walks in with a golf club through his head, and and he's reading an apology and with his quote unquote wife sitting next to him, and on the back of the pages he's reading it says like "Help, he's going to kill me." Go watch it; it's really fun.
I remember that. Damn, SNL is such a fucking classic for everything.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean, he was like the guy to watch. So it is nice to see him. And then also, he's been battling injuries, which he's been battling back injuries, which I can't even imagine playing golf with at a competitive level. That is with the problems he's had. I feel like it's hard enough to swing a club, and he's out here now getting a dub, so it's awesome. I'm still a big Tiger fan. I know he's done some stuff. Obviously, I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, I mean he was always great on the course, and that's where I seen him, and I'll remember him for. So it was nice to have a win. I feel like I haven't like he's retiring. He's not. He's just he just won, and it's nice to see. Next, something I'll just touch on because I know you guys probably don't know too much about it, but Luka Modric wins.
Yeah, you obviously know what you're talking about. As you can't say his goddamn name.
He won FIFA's the Best Award, which is basically the best player in the world for the year.
He'd probably rather have the World Cup win, though.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, this guy literally carried Croatia on his back to the final. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for him. But I remember the goal. I'm trying to think who they played now, but it was in the group stage. It might have been. Oh, I think it was against Argentina. His goal from outside the box was just beautiful.
Nasty.
So I mean, I always like Luka Modric. He plays for Real Madrid, which I don't like them, but yeah, I mean he's a quality player. Had a really good World Cup. Nobody had Croatia getting to the final, and there they were. And one of the main reasons was him. And the interesting thing about this, him winning, is it actually breaks a streak of many years of. Basically, it was just a war between Ronaldo and Messi. It was just back and forth they were going, and it's been going on for years. Like nobody else has won the award, so finally somebody else won it. And also, just a quick note: it's called FIFA's the Best Award now, but they've changed the name like 15,000 times. So, it used to be called the Ballon d'Or. There was like a name before that, so it's all the same thing. It's just the best player from the year. But I wanted to touch on that because, like I said, it is interesting. It's always
I heard that Messi voted for Ronaldo.
Oh, really?
Ronaldo did not vote for Messi.
I mean, to be fair, to be fair to him though, like I don't think Messi had I don't think he should have won this year. Like to me, it should have been between.
I don't know much about the season. I just wanted to bring that up.
No. So I'm just gonna say for the soccer fans out there, like my thing. So, it would have been like for me, like 3 would have been Ronaldo, Modric, and then the other guy he's 18, Kylian Mbappe. He's a French. He's He's basically one of the guys that got them that World Cup. It was between them. I mean, look, I used to be one. So it's always this argument about Messi or Ronaldo, and I used to be like a big Messi guy, but you can't discount the greatness of Cristiano Ronaldo and what he's done. This is a topic for another time because I can go on a lot about this, but yeah, just like I said, I just thought it was interesting. I'm trying to look now to see how long the streak was, but I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years of it was just them two winning the award. So interesting there. Next, we're going to move on to a topic that is very close to Bobby's heart. We touched on them earlier. The Flyers have introduced a new mascot,
Jesus Christ.
and like we said, we talked about him earlier. If you haven't seen him, you need to look him up. He's a Sesame Street reject. His name is Gritty, and he's just a fun-loving guy, right?
Yeah, you'd want him in your house for $4,000 a month.
Just think, like someone drew that idea up, and it was approved.
Yep. So let me break this down for you, all right? So so it started off with a group of people, probably thinking of we need a mascot. The Flyers are one of the teams in the league that don't have a mascot. We need a mascot, right? Somebody put this idea out there, and then it was approved by a whole group of people that this guy is going to be the mascot for the Flyers. Makes sense.
This homeless looking motherfucker.
So,
I mean, to be fair, he looks like a lot of homeless people in Philly. So, I mean,
wow.
Oh,
holy
shots fired.
Okay, well.
Even trashing the homeless people there, jeez.
I mean, I'm not trashing the homeless people, but I'm trashing the fact that they made this guy look like a homeless guy, and he's the official mascot of the Flyers.
He's a drunk homeless guy, which I guess suits Philly.
Okay, so if I could hop in on this one here,
Bobby's not happy.
No, well, all right, hold on. All right, time out. So I just want to say I was in class when he was announced, right? So I know the Flyers released a teaser video. I haven't even watched it yet.
Don't.
At this point, I know what no. I know what the surprise is. It was something about somebody causing ruckus in the office, your typical kind of skit thing, and they'll tell you tomorrow who it's going to be. And holy shit, it's this orange monster thing name. We call him Gritty. And I was in class, and I was just like, who in the hell is all right? Yes, he is extremely ugly. I am aware of this. I like the idea of a mascot. My thought process was just bring back Flex, please, dear God. If anybody doesn't know who Flex is, he was the best Philly hockey mascot ever, and you can fight me on that one. Slapshot doesn't even compare to him. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so Flex was for the then Philadelphia Phantoms mascot before they moved to Lehigh Valley. And now they have Melvin, which he's ugly too, but whatever.
Well, I was gonna say, it's got to be the same. Melvin's got to be the same. Whoever created Melvin definitely created this guy, and maybe the Philly fanatic.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I mean, they are. I think part of this was because of the other two mascots. Absolutely. There's not they wanted them all to match so that one, because they'll all get together for something, right? So either it's a hockey game or on at the bank for a Phillies game, they'll do something mascot related where they're all there. And they all got to look the same, right? Because Philly sports and solidarity and stuff. The only one who looked out of place now is literally the Eagle. I
don't know his name, but yeah.
I don't know his name either, but so here's the thing though, and here's what was funny about this. I said from the get-go when I was talking, was I talking to you about this, Tyler, that day? Was it you?
I don't know. What are you going to talk about?
I was talking to somebody, and I was basically saying, look, so I obviously follow Philly Twitter, basically all the beat writers and everybody Flyers related and everybody from the area and this and the other thing, and it's everybody hated it immediately. That was the immediate reaction, and Twitter had a goddamn field day. I've never seen I haven't seen the Flyers in national news in a while. Time Magazine did a piece on the mascot. When in the hell do you ever see that? And so they hated it, right? And then he made his debut at a preseason game where oh my freaking God. Okay. So he his main thing was that he fell on the ice. He was on the ice shooting t-shirts, and he just wiped out in the worst possible way. Literally feet overhead going backwards,
and did the classic thing where he just then was oh, I'm gonna make a snow angel now because I fell. The classic oh, I didn't mean to fall.
I didn't do that. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Yeah. And then when they were shooting t-shirts, he shot one of the other cannon shooters in the back. That was funny. And he was in the crowd and everything like that. So here was when the shift happened, right? Here was when the shift happened. What I said from the get-go, people are going to hate it now, But I swear to God, as soon as other people start seeing the thing that are not Flyers fans, we're gonna defend him like he's our blood brother. Like, and I knew it, and that's exactly what happened. People were like, okay, we actually kind of like him, because he's just outrageous enough that he belongs, and that's what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna hate the guy. I mean, he comes up to me at a game when I go eventually. I'm gonna give him a high five. You crazy? And I might even. And here's the thing. So my roommate asked me, he's not really a sports guy, and he's like, so why do they have a new mascot? I'm like, well, they want to make money. They're gonna sell plushies and shirts and other and charity event stuff and everything, right? So the kids are gonna love him, right? Even though he's the face of nightmares.
I am not letting my kids fucking 100 meters near that guy. No chance.
Like you're a San Jose fan, why would you? But it's
that's true.
So it's funny. So my favorite take on it was from a beat writer who God, I'm forgetting his name now, and he works for Broad Street Hockey. He
Are you talking about Tim? Whatever?
No. Forgetting his name now. I'm sorry if I forget your name. So he basically says, he's like, you know what? The adult fan base is gonna hate this mascot no matter what. So I'm glad the Flyers were like, you know what? Let's just go full out with it. Let's just make it as nightmare spot. That was probably my favorite take, and maybe turn like, you know what? He's got a bit of a point there. So there's that, and then the meth head jokes came out, and then that turned eerie because of the story that came out today about Flyers player Yuri Laterra, who's still fighting for a spot as the fourth line center. Apparently being a suspect in a cocaine ring bust in Finland. So the jokes were that Yuri Laterra is giving Gritty the meth, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. You know what we need to do, though? Brendy, you'll kind of get this joke because I'm serious when I say this. We need to get a side-by-side of Gritty and Justin Turner from the Dodgers. I think they look exactly the same. Like, the beard is the same. It's God.
No, you're absolutely right. That's hilarious.
But yeah, like Yuri Laterra. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't arrested, so he has not been arrested yet. But apparently, the cocaine they had, which was apparently worth like $600,000 with the amount that they had a lot, and apparently he was not arrested for it, but it was like at his like cottage or something, or like his cabin, like his like on the lake or something in Finland. I don't know. Yeah. And so he's a suspect. He hasn't been arrested, but he was definitely questioned by Finland. And this is out of the Finland article. Nothing more on that at the moment, but that's the idea. So,
yeah, that's interesting. Of course, that came out right after they released the thing about about the mascot. It's kind of gonna be better.
I know, like I saw a couple tweets where it was like I just saw Yuri Laterra, which why would I be seeing his name other than announcing for lineups or something like that? And it's like, that happened. Okay. And then all the greedy jokes came. So yeah. We can move on.
Next, I mean, good news for hockey here. The Seattle, I believe it's the Seattle Council. I don't know, Seattle fucking whatever council approved plans for a $700 million renovations for the potential new. I mean, they're going to be a team, the Seattle hockey team, for renovating Key Arena. The plans were approved. Bobby was just mentioning earlier, they're going to have a vote essentially in December about the team actually, it being fully approved. It's going to be interesting with the lockout, which I'm already planning, or the potential lockout, I should say. I'm already planning about making this a topic at some point because it's a big thing, especially with me and Bobby having the information we do with the our interest, I should say, with the NHL. So, but it's interesting, Key Arena. That was where the Supersonics played, right? I believe so, at least.
Is that what it was, Key Arena?
I thought it. I mean, maybe
It is, but like obviously they moved because Key Arena was ass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So now we got and also another note I wanted to make. So with this renovation, Seattle's looking for an NBA. The owners are also looking for an NBA team. NBA hasn't announced anything for expansion yet, but it's very much believed that they may go back to Seattle at some point in the future, and the owners are definitely interested. Seattle definitely wants it, and I don't blame them if they're going to build. If they're going to renovate the arena this much, I'm sure they want an NBA team.
Yeah.
At this point though, I'm starting to like believe less and less. Like they were supposed to get an NBA team like years ago.
Yeah, but now that they have the funds to make a new arena, because like I mean we see it all over the country. Like a lot of the hockey arenas are also it's a multi-sport facility, so they do basketball with it too. Like I feel like you'd almost have to take advantage of it.
Well, that's a good point though, because like if Seattle does end up getting an NBA team, it means they're probably going to have to add an Eastern team as well at some point.
Yeah, I think I mean. The NHL is in balance right now because they have 31 teams, so they already. I mean, they're looking to expand anyway, but for NBA it would be interesting because it's all about geography too, right? You can't have too many teams on one side and then not enough on the other, so it would be interesting. But I think they'll just try to push it for the simple fact of okay, we're getting a new arena. There's a lot of money to be made here. If we can get another sport in here, so let's try to do it.
It's also worth noting that it's not public money anymore. It's right, which was I think part of what was holding this renovation and all this kind of stuff back was that it's not local government saying, okay, we're going to use taxpayer dollars to pay for this. No, it's a group of investors who are paying this $700 million renovation. Sorry. So that's part of it. So that's the big thing. So now everything's moving a lot quicker, and you'll start seeing news announced really, 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 really quickly now. So
yeah,
what's up?
I mean, it's all but confirmed about it. It will get approved. Seattle is going to be a hockey team again. It's just going to be timing. The lockout pending. When it's going to be, but we should be seeing them soon. And then who knows? Maybe a basketball team. College football news here. Clemson, I think they're the third-ranked team in the country right now, having some breaking news. So Trevor Lawrence, one of the top recruits this year, a QB. He's been named the starting QB, and immediately after, the next day, Kelly Bryant misses practice for an undisclosed reason, of course. And now he's requesting a transfer, which is interesting since he's in his senior year. But Trevor Lawrence is one of the top recruits, freshman. It was going to be a battle between him and Kelly Bryant at the beginning of the year to see who was going to win the job. Ultimately, they're now going with Lawrence, who I'm actually really high on. I think he has a chance to be. I know this is, he's only in college now, but he has a chance to be like a really good quarterback in the NFL. He's got a hell of an arm. And like I said, he was one of the top. I think he was the top quarterback recruit this year. So a lot of people are ripping Kelly Bryant, though, saying he doesn't have a backbone for this, immediately leaving after this. He was named the starter. But the thing that doesn't make sense to me is, like, they were splitting time anyway, the first 3 games. So, like, I don't know why. I mean, now I guess, they're naming him the starter outright. Maybe they're not going to play him as much. But I feel like Bryant would still be getting at least a little bit of playing time. I mean, I know he's probably doing this, he's definitely doing this for his future, so he can get more playing time and put himself out there. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence starting QB now for Clemson, and we'll see how that goes because they are definitely a title contender. Now moving on to some quarterbacks that were in college last year, now in the NFL, and now will be starting for Week 4. Baker Mayfield. Coming in for the Thursday night game last week and getting the Browns their first win in
big shout out
2 years. It was crazy, man. It's unbelievable.
Baker Mayfield is a bad man.
I said this before. Baker. I wanted the Broncos to take him at 5. there was a big rumor. Now, I also didn't think he was going to go 1 at the time, but he did, and he's a guy I feel like that's going to be really good in the league. Like, he was getting a lot of Johnny Manziel comparisons when he came out, which, I mean, take it however you want, but I mean, he looks good. He's got the right mindset. It looks like. I'm gonna refer to it again, but the Hard Knocks. He was on Hard Knocks this year. He seems. Yeah, I was one of those guys that I kind of thought he was a little bit of a college douchebag, but he was young. He's growing up. I think he has a chance to be really good in this league. And the one that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me is Josh Rosen starting in Week 4. Now I understand that Sam Bradford has looked like he's throwing with the opposite hand how he's been playing. He's been that bad, but Josh Rosen comes in at the end of the game last week against the Bears. They need a pick me up. They're down by I think 1 or 2. 4 minutes left in the game. Josh Rosen, you're in. What does he do? He comes in and throws 2 picks, and now they rewarded him with throwing 2 picks by giving him a starting job next week. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but we'll see how that goes. We play a fantasy league together. Me, Bobby, and Brendy, daily fantasy league. I'm already letting you know a secret this week. I'm probably I don't even know who the Cardinals play this week. I'm probably starting their defense because Josh Rosen has a chance to throw like 16 picks.
Yeah.
Little Nathan Peterman over there. More quarterback news. This one is actually kind of sad. Jimmy Garoppolo, tore his ACL last week against the Chiefs on it was non-contact, and that's never good. He went down grabbing his knee, and right away, I think the assumption was a torn ACL. Has an MRI Monday, and that confirms a torn ACL, and that will put him out for the season. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's basically exactly what happened to Ricardo Allen with the Falcons too. Non-contact injury, just torn ACL.
I mean, if you go down and there's if you're cutting, which he was doing, he was trying to make a cut up the sideline, and you go down like that, it's never good. So he's out for the year. Now they turn to CJ Beathard again, who last year was CJ Beathard. Oh. Yeah, I know. The 49ers fans are so optimistic, and it only took 3 weeks, and now they're like, "Yep, we'll be getting a top 5 pick again." It's unfortunate. I like Jimmy G. Now, I think there was a lot of hype over him last year because he came in and didn't lose a game with the 49ers. He's looked good. I don't even know. I mean, he's looked okay this year. He's also not getting a lot of help from the rest of his team. But he's their guy there, and now he's gonna miss the year. Hopefully, he comes back stronger. I want to see him do good. I was thinking about this last night. That except for the few years they had Kaepernick, like the 49ers in my lifetime have always been like not a good team. And look, I know before me they were a great team, but that kind of got me into a thing about all the teams and all the sports that have been just terrible. It feels like they've been rebuilding my whole life. And then of course I went right to the Browns, and I'm like, damn, the Browns have really been bad. Their whole since their franchise has been in existence. It's crazy to think about.
Basically, since they've been reinstalled, after their move to Baltimore, when they were reinstalled, they just literally they made the playoffs once, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think it was one time they went 10-6 or something like that and snuck in. And then I'm hockey. I feel like
the two was in 2002. That's the last time they made the playoffs as well.
So the Coyotes had 1 year, and in the NHL I'm talking now, the Coyotes had 1 year where they made the playoffs, but other than that, they've been bad.
And aren't the Coyotes in major debt?
Yeah,
there's a lot with Arizona right now, man.
Moving to Atlanta.
No,
they won't move.
You don't want that team, trust me. I
don't care if we scrap the whole team. I just want a fucking NHL team, man.
I mean, we could talk about moving franchises at some point, but as much as Arizona keeps talking about getting moved, it's not going to happen that quick.
Yeah, I mean,
it really is.
The big place would be Quebec City.
Yep,
has always been.
That is like the biggest. Like NHL is like drooling over getting a team back in Quebec again.
Well, the fans are. The NHL is like, we'll see.
No, I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, I feel like they know that it's kind of a money market, but I'm sure there's logistics there. Like, I don't know what the arena situation is over there or whatever, but I'm sure they have a place to play. But it'll be interesting. So we could, again, we'll talk about this later, but it'll be Arizona or it could be Florida. Florida's not going to go away tomorrow, though. They're on lease for a long time, so we'll see.
Yeah, I love how we get so off track.
You know what? It makes for good discussion, though. That's kind of the beauty of
like
this.
Jimmy G, and now we're talking about fucking the Coyotes moving to Quebec City.
Right.
And then our last quick pick, I should say, before we get into our big stories, is Le'Veon Bell. Is the saga continues, and I think it was reported by Adam Schefter before the games week 3 that they are now. I find this hard to believe that it's coming out now. I think they've been shopping him since week 1, but the Steelers are officially shopping him, looking for trade offers. Now, in order for him to get signed, they need to actually sign him to the franchise tag so they can move him, because he can't be moved unless he is signed to that. There's some stipulation there. So it'll be interesting. The big rumor that I've been seeing is Le'Veon to the Jets because they have a lot of cap space. They need. They could use a all-star running back to play in with Sam Darnold. That's been the big landing spot. Other teams have been the 49ers that they've been rumored. That might be interesting now with the Garoppolo situation if they want to. Spend that, go out there and do that now that their season is essentially lost. So it's crazy. I mean, we always talk about fantasy owners. Bobby, your dad has first, hand experience with this. Takes him with the 5th overall pick because, if this wasn't happening, Le'Veon is probably a 1 or 2 pick in fantasy in our league. I say our league, in your league. I was just drafting for you. He slid to 5, and look at him now. I mean, it's a guy who's not even playing, and probably I don't see him playing anytime soon, which is crazy to think about because before the season starts, there's no way he misses time. There's no way.
Right?
Where we're at now.
So just for context, my dad has been in the fantasy league for 15 years or something like that. He's been in this league. One of the teams was not playing this year, so I filled in and got my own team, and this is my inaugural season, and I actually ended up getting the 1st overall pick. I couldn't make the draft though because they were all meeting up back in Jersey. I'm in Maryland for school, and I was during a night where I had night classes here, so I couldn't make it. So I basically I had Tyler draft for me. Since he's back in Jersey and he's able to just sign into my account or whatever. But I was, I still gave him who I wanted for 1st overall pick. And it was between Todd Gurley and Le'Veon Bell. David Johnson was in there too, but I was like, I'm really not a believer.
It wasn't, I think it's only half point PPR. It's not PPR. I forget, what's the league
It's
again?
standard. It's called standard.
Yeah, standard. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So it's not PPR. So you're not talking about receptions. You're talking about guys who are going to score touchdowns and whatever. So here's the thing, though. When I was making the decision between Gurley and Le'Veon Bell, I was convinced he was not going to miss time too. And so I wasn't even considering the whole contract scenario. The only reason I chose Todd Gurley was that I knew that the Steelers still have been throwing to Antonio Brown. And although Le'Veon Bell, is going to get the touchdowns when he plays and whatever, and he's going to be a high scorer and everything, I knew the Rams were going to rely heavily on Todd Gurley, and I've been proven right so far. So, and as and it's obviously the Steelers are suffering without Bell, so even Bell would have been a good pick, even if he didn't have all these contract problems. It's I just didn't think he was going to miss time, and now we're at week 4, and he's still not here, and there's no sign as to when he's coming back yet.
I was going to say it's not. I don't think like I heard a lot of people saying like I'm not familiar with the whole stipulations with contracts and stuff like that, but people were saying he wasn't going to come back to week 10 or 11 because there's some thing in there where I don't know. It's like I guess if he came back that late, it would help him in contract talks. I honestly don't know, but the point I was trying to make there is that it could be we could be in for a long run, and Le'Veon fantasy owners that's a tough pill to swallow. So we'll have to see. It's a shame too because I actually like Le'Veon, but he's just trying to get his money, and he's not getting, and the Steelers are not paying him what he wants. So, and we've seen the Steelers. I haven't seen the Steelers start off with a record like they have now in a while, so it's weird to see. But we will. I digress. We'll move on to our big stories here. This one came out today, right? Or maybe I'm bugging, but
Yes, yeah, it came out today.
Okay, so this is actually huge news. PS4, it's we were talking about this in an earlier podcast about how they're like, we're the best system, we're not going cross-platform. Well, that was just a straight up lie because PS4 is essentially testing cross-platform. Fortnite will be the beta test for that, and I will hand it over to Bobby, who just has some of the I guess the statement from Sony about this.
Okay, so just some clarification. So for those who may not be familiar with the situation, so
I'm sorry I didn't explain that well. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read much of the story.
No,
that's why.
No, you're fine. I want to provide some preface because it's not like PlayStation 4 couldn't play with other people on other stuff, just not other consoles. So, so let's say me and you are playing on PC, Ty, right? And let's say I don't know, Brendy, who I don't even think owns a PS4.
Nope.
I mean, how about this? I own a PS4. You and Brendy are playing, and I'm on PS4. All right, there you go.
Fine. All right. So let's say this. Let's say me and Brendy are playing on PC, right? Let's say Tyler is playing on PS4. We can get in a party with him, but then let's say Zach, who owns an Xbox, wants to party up with the three of us. As long as Tyler's there playing on the PlayStation, he can't join. It literally says something along the lines of he's playing on a forbidden system.
Yeah,
which I think is just hilarious.
It says exactly that. Yeah,
and that's all on and that's all on Sony. Xbox was so for this; they've been for this for a long time. And Sony, we talked about this a while ago on another episode of the podcast about how Sony was like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to let cross-platform happen because we think we're the premier system." And it's like, I mean, that's debatable. I'm not going to get into this whole console wars bullshit. But to me, that was a very ignorant comment.
Oh man, I was coming locked and loaded.
You listen. I'm not going to do it. You can do it.
I'm just kidding.
But like, so here's what I was saying. I think happened. Right. I'll read their statements in a second here. What I think happened was, and Sony, and someone can tell me I'm wrong, but I got to think Sony gets a cut out of Fortnite sales. Right. They got it. Like even the Battle Pass stuff. Right.
I don't know. Maybe.
But it would make sense, right? Because like they can allow. Well, because they can tell Fortnite to go fuck themselves and be like, yeah, we're not going to host you on our servers and stuff like that. Screw that. And
I mean, that would be a bad decision they would be making. But yeah,
absolutely. So I gotta assume they get a cut of something, right? And I gotta assume that they realize, okay, first of all, the public is extremely mad at us right now because this game is like the most popular game right now, right? And it's not going to stop. And every other system is on the cross-platform. Like Xbox can play with Switch and PC and everything else. Like even Android and iOS, you can play on cross-platform, I think. And it was just Sony holding back because they were just trying to die on that hill. But they realized like, okay, we like money, and I'm sure we announced that cross-platform happens, we will get a lot more players than we already have. There's a ton of Sony players. It's just I'm sure they're going to get a lot more now, right? Because then they can play with anybody. So then the big story of it is, so it's not just Fortnite. The story of it is that they're going to use this as their beta test and that they're going to open it up to more games, which means we might start seeing the trend I have been waiting for maybe 10 years now, in that we might just see games just get released on each platform, but all the servers are based on the developer, and anybody can play with each other no matter what system they're on. Which I am all for, dude. I am totally for it. So I'll read Sony's statement. So it was announced on Twitter earlier, like not even like 2 hours ago, I think. So they said, we recognize, it's coming from GameSpot.com, and this is from John Cadera, president of Sony Interactive. We recognize the PS4 players have been eagerly awaiting an update, and we appreciate the community's continued patience. Yeah, that's what you call patience? All right. As we have navigated through this issue to find a solution.
What?
You mean to get your head out of your own ass? Okay. We see the beta as an opportunity to conduct thorough testing that ensures cross-platform play is best on PlayStation while being mindful about the user experience from both a technical and social perspective.
Yeah, mindful. All right.
Maybe there was a technical issue, but if Xbox, Switch, and PC could all do it, I don't see how they couldn't. If they're trying to be this best console ever type thing, whatever.
PC Master Race.
I'm a believer. I'm an Xbox and PC owner, but yeah, a lot of the games, like I play Rocket League on
PC Master Race. If you got 1,500 to blow on that shit,
yeah, no, that's the part of it, right? So, but the argument is, you buy a PC, like a big PC, and you never have to upgrade consoles. I mean, the Xbox generations go for 10 years. No way a computer lasts that long, too. So I don't know if I buy that one anymore. The other part of it is, it's like, okay, let's say you get a game on 360, right? You know, and obviously, I mean, you can't just straight up play it on the one unless they offer the backwards compatibility, right? But if you buy it on PC, you can play it forever. Like, I still have a copy of Halo 1, when was that released? Like early 2000s, right? Yeah. I can still play that. And that was on the original Xbox.
Back when floppy disks were still a thing.
Well, I don't even have, well, yeah. I mean, I have the CD-ROM, so I mean, I could just pop it in and play it at any point, and it'll never, ever not work unless every computer company in the world decides to go the Apple route and change what the faults are. But that's a whole nother rant that I have about Apple. But anyway, so he went on to say, for 24 years, we have strived to deliver the best gaming experience to our fans by providing a uniquely PlayStation perspective. This is so funny to me. Today, the communities around some games have evolved to the point where cross-platform experiences add significant value to the players. It's not like we haven't been saying this for years or anything. I'm just saying.
What gave them the first clue?
Gee, I don't know. God, this bugs me. In recognition of this, we have completed a thorough analysis of the business mechanics.
Thorough analysis? It's common sense.
Required to ensure the PlayStation experience for our users remains intact today in the future. We look to open up the platform. Okay, so I'll say this. I get that they probably had to do some internal managing, right, to kind of figure out if they could do it or whatever. And they also needed to figure out this, right? How can we, since it seems now with them getting on board the cross-platform train, can they still make money and sell their console, right? So I'm sure they're still trying to figure this out, because to me this sets a precedent for all future games, right? Like I have reason to believe, even though, you know, in an interview with David Vonderhaar, he said the Black Ops 4 wasn't going to be cross-platform on release or anything. I could see an update happening where it is, and especially with this announcement now, I don't see why that wouldn't happen, right?
If not the next Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm putting in a bold prediction, a hot take, a piping hot take, if you will, that, you know, all future games starting, I gotta say, in the next year will start being cross-platform on release. I gotta believe it, right?
I hope they are.
And me too. Because here's the thing, I like playing on Xbox. Don't get me wrong, and I like, but I like PC, right? I mean, there's a lot to it. It's a different feel, and it's a feel I thoroughly enjoy. I'm not knocking Xbox. I still play it. I play NHL 19 on it, and Rocket League and whatever. But I've said that, you know, I have Rocket League for both systems, right? And I think PC just feels so much better. Like, I feel slower on Xbox. And that's for, you know, many hardware reasons, right? But for the most part, I like being able to, you know, on the PC, I can, you know, just the simple fact of me being able to listen to a YouTube video while playing a game. You know what I mean?
I do that too, but I have a confession to make. I play it with an Xbox controller.
No, so do what? Rocket League, you mean, or?
Yeah, Rocket League.
Yeah, no, so do I. Well, no. You're supposed to. The default, even the professional players play Rocket League with a controller. That trying to play that on a keyboard is atrocious.
Right.
I have a friend here who plays it with keyboard and mouse, and he swears by it, but no way. Yeah. So to me, this sets a precedent that I'm extremely excited for. Right. I mean, I know a few of you have some. I don't not me specifically, but a few of you have some friends on PlayStation 4 who we've tried to play Fortnite with in the past, but we couldn't because we were playing with at the time Tyler, who didn't get his PC yet. So now we can start doing that, and I really, really, really think this is a good direction. I don't see any downsides. The only downsides I see are maybe from a business perspective, where maybe the consoles won't sell as easily, right? I mean, to me, the console
I feel like they would sell better.
Well, here's the thing. It'll still sell as long as each of the consoles still keep their exclusives, right? So PlayStation 4 just had the Spider-Man game get released, and it's good.
Looks like a great game, by the way.
Right, and I can't get it because I don't own a PS4, and the game looks cool, but it's not something I really want to buy anyway. So, but people are buying PS4s just to play this game. So I think, okay, let the cross-platform thing happen for the multiplayer experience, right? Let it happen because it was going to go that way, especially with Microsoft, being the primary PC operating system and owning Xbox, right? So that was bound to happen. So let that happen. But then the consoles should be allowed to keep their exclusives then, which I'm sure they will, right? But what I like is that for the multiplayer games, which I play more multiplayer games than story games, and when we were talking about the Telltale thing, I said that, like, look, multiplayer is the big thing, right? It'll always be the big thing. Being able to connect with people, the way we can is incredible. So now, right, like I've had friends who I would have loved to play video games with back in the day, but they always had PlayStation, and I always had Xboxes. The only two PlayStations I had were PlayStation 1 and 2. And then I was just Xbox for 3 generations.
I know I've said this before, but I'm just gonna say it again. PS2 was the shit.
Oh yeah. No question in my mind.
I still have mine hooked up, right now.
Dude, I have the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2 still hooked up back at home in New Jersey. Like it's good. And
so
also NHL Hits 2003. Shout out.
Yeah, really. So the one thing like that kind of connects with us, right, is that with the Black Ops coming out, I mentioned to you guys, I was like, so Brendy, I know you're getting it on PC, and I'm trying to figure out what platform I want to get it on because I would get it on PC. I should get it on PC to be honest with you, but I'm more comfortable on Xbox.
Right.
But I also don't want to get it if Brendy's the only person that gets it on PC and Bobby gets it on Xbox, and hypothetically just say Zach gets it on Xbox or whatever. Why can't that be cross-platform like that? I feel like something like that, that's why I want all games to be cross-platform like that, especially the big games, because, and I know there's logistics to it, but I'm just saying as a fan of those games, it's just so much easier when that's cross-platform is a thing. There's not like the us, again, it's so much simpler. That's basically the big thing with it.
And I'm not going to deny that there's no, I am not a game developer. I know next to nothing about doing it and running servers and stuff like that. I'm sure there were a lot of technical aspects that had to be figured out, right? But I don't know. I think we've come to the end of an era with the console wars, right? Like it was always for years, especially during the 360 and PS3. It was Xbox is better, PlayStation is better. By the way, 360 was better. So, and then with the Xbox One and PS4, it happened, but then that's when PC Master Race basically started to build up. So then it was basically games were getting released for both, and it basically became PC is definitely the better system for a lot of reasons, and that can be debated all day long. I'm not going to do that. But all I'm saying is it doesn't look like it's a Xbox versus PlayStation or Switch anymore. People, no one's arguing the Xbox is better than the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is its own type of thing, and it's amazing. Xbox is its own type of thing, it's amazing. PlayStation is its own type of thing, it's amazing. And, I think we're just seeing now, it was always, do you have this game on PC or do you have it on console and you're a pleb, right? Especially for games I remember CSGO has been out for a while, but, Counter-Strike. They released it for Xbox and it completely flopped. It just never happened. So you're starting to see a trend where it's more about the competitiveness of the game and what systems they're on, instead of just the consoles in general. And now with this cross-platform thing, that's all going to be erased now. It doesn't even matter what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's just not going to matter. It's now, cool, you have this game. All right, let's party up and play. Let's go. Let's play right now. Let's play Fortnite. Let's play Call of Duty, whatever it is. And I was talking about earlier about Rocket League finally, allowing Xbox and for whatever reason, Xbox and PC be able to party together to play. competitive online mode. So I probably won't even touch Xbox on or Rocket League on Xbox again after this. You know what I mean? Because I just like it better on PC. So people have the choice now, but at the same, and they're not going to lose out on not being able to play with friends anymore. So I'm rambling at this point, but I'm happy about this direction. It's something I've been asking for a long time, because to me it never made sense. People now can choose. So here's where I think this can be good, right? Now for the next generation of consoles, whatever that may be, and whenever that may be, now the hardware has to be focused on, and the features have to be focused on. Instead of wondering what system you can play with your friends on the most, that won't matter anymore. So now I think it's forcing these companies to be able to make the best system and piece of hardware they possibly can without having to worry about this anymore, right?
That's true.
So I see no negatives here. I see none, absolutely zero. And I'm glad we're finally going on that path. I really hope, and I hope I'm not wrong. I stand by my prediction that within the next year or so, you're going to start seeing games come out by default, especially even the big franchise games like Call of Duty, come out as cross-platform, and I am here for it. I'm totally for it. I think the only thing that needs to be figured out is, PC, for Rocket League, for example, has custom. You can do custom training maps. On Xbox and PS4, you can't. So there needs to be a way you can still do the customization and modding type stuff on the consoles compared to the PC. I mean, you're not going to stop modding, right? I mean, games keep trying to stop it because they hate it being messed with, but that would be really the only distinction between games on PC versus games on console.
Yeah, well, now, I mean, that, you're talking about games coming out in the next year and being cross-platform. Like, that might be a thing now, because now that PlayStation says, okay, well, we're up, we can do this. Maybe the way games are worked on are different in terms of the games have the same features, so it all can be cross-platform. Like, I'm sure Rocket League was made. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't.
It was released with cross-platform capabilities.
Right. I don't know. I just think that PlayStation's kind of opening up the door for the whole community as a whole, because them actually saying they were the stingy one, and now they're like, okay, we're up for it. That's good.
And I love part of it was when the whole Sony thing came out and they were sticking to their guns, you see Xbox and Nintendo Switch Twitter accounts saying hey guys, want to party up in Fortnite? I think that Sony finally realized it's not cool to do this anymore. That's not the trend. The trend now is to make the best system you can and be able to play with anybody. That'll make us the money we need. But then now I'm excited for the next generation of the consoles. This could be years from now, like I said, because I feel like now the focus is going to be how good can the system run games? Can it be an entertainment experience? And the Xbox One was also advertised as your one-stop hub for Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, stuff like that. I think there's gonna be a lot more focus on that now. Not like there wasn't already, but now the whole factor of, okay, is everybody going to buy a PlayStation and play this game with each other or whatever? That's gone now. That's completely gone now.
Yeah.
That factor's not there. So I think a lot of it now is going to be, can they make the best system? Just the best, it's like a $400 computer versus a $2,000 computer type of deal, right? Do they want the best of the best? And you got to make the best of the best. So that's the way I see it. I think this just opened insane floodgates. Maybe I'm being totally too optimistic, but to me, the fact that Sony is willing to do this says something.
Yeah.
Right?
I totally agree.
And once, Fortnite at some point will go down in popularity at some point. It won't die. I don't think this game can ever die. I mean, in a year's time of the Battle Royale being out, they put Ninja on the cover of ESPN magazine, which is ridiculous. Not in a bad way, but it's just insane how quickly you're just from this game that just turned a year old today, right? It'll be here.
It strides fast,
right? And there will be other games that will do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And you might start seeing some games return to computer. Like you might even see the NHL franchise come back to computer now.
I would love
for
that.
similar reasons, which I would, yeah.
That would be interesting, that's for sure.
I know a lot of it. And I mentioned the modding earlier. Is that EA doesn't like the modding? That's a lot of the reason why they're not there. So, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. As a gamer and as somebody who owns multiple systems and ways of playing video games, I am extremely happy. Again, I see really no negatives coming out of this. It's a good time for consumers right now, and it's going to be.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say it's a good thing for consumers. I don't know how it fares with. I can't imagine it would be a bad thing for the companies. I mean, like
I said, the only thing that they're going to be missing, and sorry to cut you off, the only thing that they would be missing is that now it's it would be like I said earlier, where like everyone's going to flock to one system so they can all play together, type of thing. Yeah. That would be it. But I think they realize now that since other companies are going cross-platform and they're still making the amount of money that they're making, especially through games like Fortnite, where there's 1.5 million, in-game purchases, and that's undervaluing that. PlayStation's like, okay, we're really not going to lose much out of this. And like I said, I think the thing that's still going to keep the companies not afloat because they're not in bankruptcy trouble or anything, but the thing that's still going to make them a ton of profit is making the best system and convincing the consumers that that's the best system and the exclusive, right? People will buy the PlayStations to play that to play Spider-Man. They will do it.
I mean, one of the main reasons I got an Xbox, I mean, I have both, so I'm like saying, but like one of my favorite video game series is Forza Motorsport, and like it's Xbox exclusive, and I get that for that. And on the flip side, actually to further the point, I got a PlayStation 4 for MLB The Show, like strictly.
Yeah,
like that's why.
That's what my other roommate did. So I mentioned all my roommates at this point, Jesus. So my one roommate, he Xbox player, but he wanted a baseball game because he's a big baseball fan. So he bought a PlayStation 4, so he's able to play a baseball game because the one that's out for Xbox, which it's like baseball something, I forget what it's called. It's trash. It's apparently trash.
I think the only game they have right now out is like RBI Baseball or something.
That's it. Yep, RBI Baseball. That's it. Yeah, and it's apparently garbage. Yeah. So that's what he bought a PlayStation 4 for. That's all he has for the PlayStation 4.
That's basically me.
Yeah, people will do it. So as long as the exclusives stay for each of the systems like they have, like Halo's always been on Xbox except for 1 and 2, I think we're on PC as well because I have one for PC. Forza for Xbox. Trying to think. PlayStation has Spider-Man, and they've had other games that I can't think of at the moment. But as long as the exclusives are still a thing, which I don't see that dying at any point soon. Those partnerships, those exclusive partnerships, help the developers a ton, like funding wise. So those aren't going to go away, and those will definitely help sell the systems, right? So I don't see losses here unless somebody wants to debate that and show me stats otherwise, because I don't think I've mentioned a single statistic so far in my ramble. I'm just going off what makes sense in my head. I'd be willing to hear, right? I am not a business person. I don't know the ins and outs of this industry. If somebody has another comment in why this could be bad or good for the businesses like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, I'd love to hear. But that's me. But yeah. So we can. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm very happy with this.
Yeah, I am. So,
and just for the record, well, I mean, it'll already be out by the time we release this. It'll start with the Fortnite Season 6 update, which is tomorrow, September 27th. So, you PlayStation players will be able to play with everybody else. So, have fun.
Yeah, and now we're going to move on to probably my favorite segment we have, in case you missed it, with our boy, Brendy. So, you can take it away.
All right, so unfortunately, this week was pretty much a really slow news week in terms of sports and video games. So it took a while to find some of these stories, and I've only got 2 of them, so I do apologize. But I tried my best. I don't know why it was so slow.
I actually agree, too. Like, usually we have some interesting things kind of a standard week.
Right.
Yeah, it's like usually whenever I have like really good stories, it's because there was like a lot of stories and like occasionally like a few slipped under the radar. But the thing is like the only thing that kind of happened this week was like a big major news stories, which you guys have already heard about. So I'm not gonna obviously cover those.
Yeah.
But here's a few that I found. So if you guys did not know, the Chicago Cubs are a Major League Baseball team.
I did not know that.
They have very passionate baseball fans.
Something 100 years, something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So there was a fight broke out at Wrigley Field, not between players, but between fans in the stand. And apparently, it appeared it was between like two guys, and I think even a lady was involved.
She was. Yeah.
Yeah, so a fight broke out between the fans, and they looked like that they were like supporting the same team. So I couldn't exactly tell what started the fight or what could have possibly caused it. But both fans were escorted out, and I think this was like close to the end of the game, so it didn't really matter too much. But what do you guys take on that? Why are these why are these fans of non-opposing teams fighting each other? Unless, like, if you know anything more about the story.
So the only let me say it real quick, because the only reason I know about this is that it's the Pirates who were playing the Cubs. So that's why I kind of knew about it. And to my knowledge, it was Cubs fans fighting each other. It wasn't a Pirates fan like fighting a Cubs fan or whatever, because like
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That would make sense, because whatever. Anyway, so we see this a lot in hockey, actually, and part of it is because sometimes somebody has one too many drinks, and that kind of says it. But like all the time, like I just don't. Something and with this situation in general, like a girl was involved, so something had to be said about her or something. Maybe one of the guys said something and they started fighting. The video is fucking hilarious though, because it could not be a whiter fight. Like literally the one guy gets pulled away and he's like explaining to his girl like why he got in a fight, like,
you shouldn't have hit me, bro. Do you know what my dad does?
My dad can have you fired. We don't even work in the same company, but he will still have you fired.
Like, it was the whitest shit. And like, again, I don't get it. Just, I guess somebody had too many drinks. But no, what I was saying before about the whole hockey thing is this happens a lot in hockey with fans fighting each other. It's like notorious. Of course, the sport that they're watching, but
hell, hockey teams have fought fans before. Remember Boston?
Oh my god,
that's
insane.
Infamous. Of what, in the 80s?
But my point to that also was it's usually like teams, it's because teams with different fan bases are there fighting. It's not because they're this is the same team. Come on, Cubs, dude, you guys are probably making the playoffs again. Just relax. Relax. Have a nice time. Watch the game.
You know what this reminds me of, though? Remember the story years ago in for the Phillies at the bank where there was a father and his daughter at a game, and there was a guy who was just completely wasted behind them, and I guess he was yelling like profanities or something. Who knows? And the guy the father turns around and goes, "Hey, can you kind of cut it out a little bit?" So that wasted guy proceeds to then stand up, put his finger down his throat, and throw up over his daughter. Yeah, and which resulted in a huge fight, right? That's probably what it was. It was probably fueled by alcohol.
It for sure was. The guy, you can kind of tell in the video.
It could have been for the stupidest reason too. I mean, it's just stuff like that. You run into those couple idiots who don't represent the fan base, but they're there and they like to cause trouble, and it starts shit like this all the time. Like that story coming out of the Phillies years ago was disgusting. Like I was so dumbfounded by someone doing that. Like, it's a little girl, dude. What are you doing? Like it's ridiculous. I mean, I hope that it wasn't for too serious of a reason and it got resolved or whatever. But I haven't seen this video. I didn't even hear about this. So But that's what it made me think of with stuff like this. It's just one person who's just there to cause trouble. That's all it is.
Yeah, usually.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. And move on to the next story. So, what would you guys say is this game hasn't? Wait, hang on. Let me make sure really quick. What would you guys say is gonna be probably the biggest game release this year, other than Call of Duty?
No.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, Red Dead 2. So, that it is coming out October 26, 2018. So that's essentially 1 month from now, exactly.
Yep.
So to commemorate this, Xbox One has announced that it is releasing 2 backwards compatible games that were originally released on 360 and now are backwards compatible for the Xbox One. What games are those, you might ask? Call of Juarez.
Oh my god!
Very old Wild West game.
Yes, that game is so underrated. You have no idea. That game is so goddamn underrated.
Yep,
I played the shit out of that.
Bound in Blood and Cartel are backwards compatible now.
Okay, Bound in Blood, I gotta say, had a really, really, really good campaign story. And actually, I sucked at multiplayer, but the multiplayer was pretty damn good. You're basically, Wild West shootout, Call of Duty style. It's amazing. But yeah.
And I've seen gameplay of it. Like I've never played it, but I know it's incredibly underrated. I know exactly what it's like though.
Yeah, so I won't spend too much time, but the premise of the campaign is it follows 2 brothers. And what's cool about it is that at each part before each level or stage, you can actually pick which brother you are, and each brother has its own thing going on. Like there's a love interest involved, and they end up carrying their third brother who's like a priest around. And I won't spoil anything. Do yourself a favor if you haven't played the game. It's actually really good and very underrated. Please go play that game. So that makes me happy. I'm gonna have to when I go home this week. I'm gonna have to next week I have to go find my copy and bring it back to school with me because oh god, I'll replay that all the time. Dear God, that's awesome.
And Microsoft has specifically stated they made these backwards compatible because of Red Dead 2 coming out soon, which that's I thought was amazing.
That's perfect, and oh god, that makes me very happy. I'm excited. I am excited. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go replay that campaign. It's extremely good.
Go for it.
I think I might actually play the Red Dead Redemption campaign again just before that game comes out. I'm excited about that game.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's just another goddamn fucking $60 I'll be spending. I tell myself every year I gotta cut down on the video games.
Yeah, Call of Duty's in a week, isn't it?
October 12th.
Yeah, 2 weeks I think.
2 weeks.
Yeah, October 12th. Yeah.
No, God, yeah, we're spending so much money.
And I just spent money on FIFA and Forza, so rip my bank account.
Well, I pre-ordered Call of Duty 2 months ago, so I think I've already recovered from payment. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I actually got the premium edition or whatever.
The one with the battle pass.
Yeah.
Not the battle, whatever it's fucking called.
I know what you mean.
Season pass.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll try and do it. Depends where I am financially, obviously, but
got to take out a goddamn bank loan to fucking play video games.
I'm already paying enough student loans over here. I'm Jesus. I'm gonna take loans out for video games now. So you know what? It's for a good cause, for reporting on the Complaint Network, right?
Well, Bobby, I certainly hope you do enjoy Call of War. I hope you go home and play the shit out of it.
I absolutely will.
All right, well that's gonna go ahead and wrap up in case you missed it. So I'm gonna hand it back over to Tyler here for the next topic.
And we finish up with 2 NFL topics. One being our week 4 predictions, but the other one being the terrible roughing the passer calls that have been a problem.
It's a plague.
To say the least.
It's a plague
in the NFL. It's like every play there's laundry on the field with the flags. Like I don't know what.
Yes, I know.
You know that laundry's on the field.
Yes, I watched the Eagles-Falcons game in week 1.
I just was, I got that. So Clay Matthews has been the one guy who's been literally it's killed him. So the week 2, the Vikings are playing the Pack, and I think there was less than a minute left in the game. Ball is snapped. He makes a move on the offensive lineman and hits Kirk Cousins as he's throwing the ball. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. What do? They ended up going down the field on that drive, tying up the game, and then that game ultimately ended in a tie. Last game, playing the Redskins, Alex Smith drops back. Clay Matthews rushes him, hits him. Apparently, his body weight fell on him, and the sad thing about, because I feel honestly bad for him. Clay Matthews gets up, looks at the ref, sees the flag, and just literally gets on his knees and just is praying to God that he does not going to strangle this guy. It's so he came out after the game and said the NFL is getting soft. The funny thing is Alex Smith told it how it is, which was good. He literally said look, I don't know what he was supposed to do there. He hit me fair, he hit me clean. I don't know what he was supposed to do. It's a terrible situation.
It's bad when the players that this rule is supposed to be protecting are saying it's bad.
Yeah, well, and you know what? So this is the big thing that came out about this. So Miami Dolphins defensive end William Hayes tore his ACL Sunday against the Raiders because of this rule. So he was essentially trying not to put his weight on the quarterback because he'll get a penalty. And he got his foot caught in the ground, and because he got his foot caught in the ground, it locked up on him, and then he tore his ACL. Now he's out for the season because of a rule that's trying to protect the quarterback. Because you can't put your goddamn. How are you supposed to tackle a guy? I just for defensive players, I can't even imagine being a defensive player in the NFL. So you got this rule, you got the whole pass interference rules in the NFL. You got the hitting a defensive player. You can't touch an offensive player. You're getting a penalty.
Before you hit a quarterback, you gotta bring some bubble wrap and wrap him up in it, and then slowly push him to the ground. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, a lot of fans are making a meme out of this. There are a lot of people posting videos of them.
The one where the father picks up his daughter and gently lays her down and then does the celebration after a 10-second process. Is but Tyler, I actually have a little bit of audio if you're interested to hear related.
I would love to hear. So whenever you're good, you can play that.
Boys, this league is a joke. So apparently that is roughing the passer in the NFL now. And there goes the flag. Dude laid off the quarterback, and they still caught him. That is an absolute joke.
Okay,
I was not expecting that to hear my voice.
So context. So what play was this? It was during a Steelers game, right?
So look, I gotta say this. I'm not a Steelers fan. I seen this call, and I wanted to throw myself through the TV. So I don't know what.
All right, Fat Albert.
Well, I was pissed. So I believe it was Gerald McCoy, who is a star defensive tackle for the Bucs. Basically, got to Ben Roethlisberger, and Roethlisberger gets rid of the ball, and it's no more than. So me and Bobby were talking about this. We were trying to figure out why the penalty was. So he throws the ball. It was a half a second later he hits him. He doesn't even hit him. He literally pushes him over. He doesn't. McCoy doesn't fall. He goes to the ground. He just pushes him over. Flag comes out. I almost lost my goddamn mind. Oh God, sorry. You go ahead. I'm just thinking about it now. I want to fucking kill somebody.
I know. So I was just gonna say. So what I said to Tyler was, well, I don't know if it's necessarily how he hit him. It's when. I mean, listen. I didn't see the clip of full game speed. I wasn't able to watch the game, and I haven't really looked it up. But what the clip Tyler showed me. So just for reference, this audio comes from a video he put in the in our Discord chat. With this whole rant, and it was showing the replay in slow-mo where, so the ball definitely got released, and half a second or a second later, he got hit. So I think in that instance, the flag was thrown for when he hit him, which was afterwards. I mean, that's what the original roughing the passer call was supposed to be for, right? It's usually okay, say the quarterback throws the ball, 1, 2, 3, okay, he gets hit. Yeah, that's a flag, right? But even still, do I think this one specifically warrants a flag? No, I still don't think so. But I was trying to just explain that it might have been for a different reason. But given how roughing the passer calls have been recently, this definitely would fall in that line. So no wonder people were mad about this one. Like even Tyler was saying, people on Twitter were confused.
Yeah. Well, so I'm trying to break this down, right? So roughing the passer, there's a couple of different things you can get called for. Number one, we already know the putting the weight on the quarterback. That was impossible because McCoy didn't fall. Number two, hitting them in the helmet. His hands and nothing hit him in the helmet. His helmet didn't hit his helmet. Nothing touched his helmet. Is what I'm trying to. Because like that was the big thing. Is like if you hit them in the helmet, even with like your pinky finger, you're getting called.
Right.
The third thing has to be it being late, but it was like I'm sorry, it just was like okay, it was maybe it was later than it's been. You know, like Clay Matthews was spot on, like when he hit him, but like it was in the time frame where you can hit him. That's got to be the call, but I don't know how you can make that call.
I don't know. So I think a lot of it has to do with just how hard they're cutting down on certain hits in the NFL because of all the CTE stuff, which, you know, a lot of it I don't agree with. You know, the way I see it, and I may have said this before, football's going to be a rough and tough sport.
Yeah, it's a violent game. Like,
right. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and defend helmet to helmet hits, right? Like I get it, but it's going to happen. You can only do so much, and penalizing the guys for playing football the way they've been taught for probably years.
Their whole lives.
Yeah,
right. It's
exactly.
that's not the way to do it. You can only do so much. The only way you can completely eliminate the violence and the injuries is if you just make it flag football, right? That's it. I understand what they're doing, and their intentions for the most part, and especially how bad they've handled this in the past, have been pretty good recently, right? I understand it, but at some point you got to say, look, the guys know what they're getting into at this point, right? You got to protect the players, you got to protect the quarterbacks who are always the target, right? You got to do it, but there's a line. There is a significant line to be drawn.
So, I'm just now we're in a situation though with William Hayes, who I said tore his ACL. Like now he has to alter his game just to abide by the rules, and then he gets hurt on it. And I'm looking at tweets. So Richard Sherman tweeted out, "They don't care about the rest of us getting hurt, long as the QB is safe." Right. Which I have never agreed with Richard Sherman probably in his entire life, but that I agree with.
But you got to. So on the same token, though, you got to know that the QB's getting roughed up is bad, right? I mean, listen, you know, as soon as he hikes the ball, right? You know, he's got however many people are on the defensive line coming for him, and they're not going to stop till they do. And I get it; it's going to hurt like hell, and it's very, very, very injury prone. But the people on the line are literally getting hit every play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So you gotta find a common line, and the way they've been calling roughing the passer is not it, Chief. I'm telling you right now, it's just not the way to do it.
I'm actually looking because I was kind of confused by the wording of this, but I'm looking. There's actually a picture of William Hayes hitting Derek Carr and like how he's trying to like not get a penalty. So like he's literally hitting him, and he has his foot in the ground so he can hold himself up, and that's why he got the ACL tear.
Right.
It's infuriating.
Can you imagine like Lil Mac, who, you know, best defensive player in the league right now? Can you imagine if he altered his game like that? Like if he had a similar thing happen where he ended up getting hurt because of the way he had to hit the quarterback, he probably wouldn't be the way he is. He probably wouldn't be the future Hall of Famer that we keep talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's strange. The game has to adapt, right? And like I said, you know, the NFL has had a bad history of dealing with how to prevent concussions and stuff like that. There's whole movies made about it, right? I mean, it's bad. They've been taking significant strides, but there is a line.
Like, for as long as football's been around, like just now, they're like, maybe these dudes banging into each other isn't good for them.
Right.
Maybe we should, crack down on smashing their heads together.
Right, but I keep saying no. I'm not. You know, I feel bad for everybody who has long-term effects after their football career is over, or any sport for that matter. Right? I mean, CTE is a scary thing. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But at some point, where do you say, okay, look, we did everything we can to still keep the intensity of the game and the mechanics of the game while trying to protect the players as much as humanly possible without ruining it and costing games with stupid penalties? Where do you make that decision? You know where the guys know what they're getting into. But I don't know. I don't know the answer. I straight up do not know the answer. But to me, you gotta at some point say, look, we only can do so much without completely changing the fundamental mechanics of the game.
Well, that's exactly the point I was going to get to. These guys are too fast. The game is played too fast.
It is.
For me to have to worry about me hitting you. And look, they complain about the other thing in this too. Now I'm thinking about this. The other way you can get a roughing the passer call in the league is hitting somebody too low. How the hell are you supposed to hit somebody?
Right, you have to hit them dead in the midsection. But wait, you can barely do that too because you're not supposed to put your helmet down. So you can't.
And then, like, how are you not supposed to? Like, I don't get it. I'm literally baffled here. Like, because I forgot about the rule about like you can't hit them low or it's a penalty too. Let's
take someone like Julian Edelman, who's a pretty short guy, right? And let's say he's up against some 6'4" player, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't put his head down, he hits him in the head, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but he puts his head down, he gets a flag. So what's he supposed to do?
I mean, like Drew Brees, I know is one of the shorter quarterbacks in the league, and like,
right?
God, it's infuriating. It really
I don't know what the answer is. I don't think any of us here do. I don't know what the answer is, but it's not this.
I'm telling you right now, if something doesn't get changed, the Super Bowl is going to be decided by this because it's going to happen all through the playoffs that teams are going to advance based on it's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. That's
here's
huge.
the thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and it's going to take a game like the Packers and it was the Lions, right, with the replacement refs. It's going to take something like that to make the NFL realize, hey, maybe we've been doing this wrong. Because remember, with the replacement refs, what's that?
It was sorry, it was Packers Seahawks, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, okay, Packers Seahawks, and it's going to take a call like that to make the NFL wake up, because that's what it was when the refs were on strike and they had the refs from college and high school ball reffing these games, and then they completely screwed up that catch call, right? And then literally right after that, the NFL's like, okay, yeah, we need you back.
Fun fact about that referee lockout: none of the replacement refs were Division I refs. They are all Division 2, 3, or high school.
Well, I mean, how do they expect to get D1 refs? They're busy.
Right. but still, like, you get my point. Like, they're not ready for that kind of experience.
No,
and they've really screwed that up.
Right. So that's my prediction here. That's my hot take, if you will, that it's going to take one call. It's going to take one insane call that costs the team either a playoff spot or even a championship to make the NFL realize that they're not getting it right. And I'm sure the NFLPA has just as much of a say, because I'm sure they were the big proponent behind this. And a lot of the lawsuits the NFL faced with all the CTE stuff coming in, right? So there has to be a line drawn somewhere. Like I keep saying, there has to be. I don't know what it is, but it's not this. You need to let the guys play football, and you got to make the players also understand that it's going to keep being a violent sport. I know it's no excuse, and I do not wish concussions or injuries or CTE upon anybody on this planet Earth. I'm sure it's the scariest goddamn thing in existence, but they know what they're playing, and they obviously love the game enough to keep playing. And you've seen people retire, because like, look, I love football, but I'm not dying over this. Like with all the CTE stuff coming out, like I that's a good decision to make. And those guys made that decision. But for the rest of the guys who are staying here and keep playing and getting in those collisions, they know what they're doing at this point. And if they think that it's worth the risk, then keep playing. But you need to set a precedent about what's safe and what doesn't destroy the fundamentals of the game. Because now you're just watching a lot of chickens without heads running around throwing a football. Yeah. That's what's happening here. So I hope they figure something out before it's too late. But knowing the NFL, it will be too late. And it's going to suck. I don't hate football. And for all intents and purposes, I'm still watching, right? But I'm sure the players are frustrated. The coaches are frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. Something's got to happen.
And keep in mind, the NFL CBA expires in 2020, so something is going to change.
Right, it's going to happen. And you might even see more stricter rules get put in because of what the NFLPA wants.
Yeah, if that happens, I don't know if I can handle it.
There's a problem. It's a problem. And someone's going to realize it sooner or later, and something's got to give.
All right,
Again,
so
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, I'm going to wrap this point up because we're kind of short on time here. But bottom line is, we understand about the injuries and stuff like that. It's a point of emphasis, obviously. So this can't keep going on. The guy is literally making a football tackle. Like I don't know what you want these guys to do. Again, the speeds that they're going, you just have to let them play. I really I hope they make a change. The problem is, no, like you said before, no, the NFL they won't until after the year ends, if they do at all. Look, I'm all for making the game as safe as it possibly can, but there's a line, and the line has been drawn. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
And with that, we'll move on. That was a good discussion.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to our week 4 predictions. A little wrap up from last week. We had the games we picked were New Orleans, Atlanta, Tennessee, Jacksonville, and the LA matchup of the LA teams. After the week, me and Bobby went 2-1. Brendy went 1-2. The one that Brendy got wrong that we got right was the Atlanta game. We had I always say New Orleans. New Orleans picking. We had them winning. They did. Brendy had Atlanta. That was an awesome game to watch.
No, it was not.
As a neutral, it was a great game to watch. New Orleans wins that game in overtime. The second game was.
Well, real quick, I just want to point out, I love Brendy's comment that he made to Tyler. So we all, like we said earlier, we're in a fantasy league together, and Tyler predicted the Falcons to lose, but played Matt Ryan in fantasy and got a ton of points off of it, and I think it triggered Brendy to the point of frustration.
Well,
yep.
I mean, what I told him was I thought Atlanta was going to lose, but I didn't say Matt Ryan was going to have a bad game. Like, the way their defense is banged up right now, and the Saints' defense is not what we thought they were from last year. I don't know what it is, but the NFC South always has games that end like 45-40 or like 37-34. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a game that ended like, I don't know, 21-14. Like, it's crazy. But and then the second game was literally awful. Like, I would rather watch paint dry. It was the Tennessee Jacksonville game. Tennessee ended up winning the game 9-6. What a game! That game was the one note from that game that was interesting was so Marcus Mariota didn't start that game because he's hurt. Like, he hurt his hand and he can't grip the football properly. Well, he came in the game anyway because their backup Blaine Gabbert got knocked out of the game, so he came in and played. Other than that, there was nothing noteworthy about that game. And then the LA game was a good game to watch. Me and Bob, we all had them that going to LA, the Rams, I should say, and that happened. So after week 3, the standings read: me and Brendy are tied up with 4 points. Bobby at 3. None of us have gotten the score predictions bang on at this point, but hopefully that'll happen soon. So the 3 games we have on tap this week, kind of a week is what I'm trying to say for football in terms of matchups this week. First game we got on is the 3-0 Miami Dolphins versus the 1-2 and third in the division, I think, New England Patriots.
Go fuck yourself.
The second game is a Sunday night football game between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and the third game is a Monday night football game between Kansas City and Denver. Brendy, I will start off with you, and you can give the prediction for the Miami-New England game.
All right, so Miami, New England. Quite honestly, I feel like this is going to be a matchup that will determine whether or not these teams are legit or not. So, like, if Miami wins and New England loses, then I think what we were predicting at the beginning of the season we need to completely throw out.
Yeah.
So, with that said, though, I don't know. Like, okay, I'm obviously not a New England fan. I'm not from the Boston area. I don't know what's been wrong with New England. That's a better thing to ask Bobby. You know, what the hell's been going on with New England? So what I would say though is New England, they still are the better team at the end of the day, against Miami at least. But I feel like Miami has always kind of had New England's number in some way. With that said, I still have New England coming out on top in a kind of low scoring game, not necessarily a whole lot of touchdowns. I have New England winning 24-20.
All right, and Bobby, you can give your prediction.
Oh, my head hurts. Okay, so New England's making my head hurt. All right, so here's my thought process. Right, I'll agree that this game definitely has some depth in it. Right, this is going to kind of decide who's real legitimate. I still don't think the Dolphins are it yet. I get it; they're 3-0, but they beat the Titans, the Jets, and the Raiders, who have not had the best of starts. Right. New England, for all intents and purposes, is still a legitimate team. I mean, yes, they started out 1-2 and gave one of their losses to the Detroit Lions, and I just don't think New England showed up. Like, that's plain simple. Everyone's like, "Well, what happened?" I'm like, nobody really just showed up. Like that's really it. I mean, there's really nothing there. I mean, they just got outcoached and outplayed. Which, talking about Bill Belichick being outcoached is like a rarity. So
Yeah, really.
it's just, it was a rough game to watch, and New England just was not in it. I'm gonna hope that New England just kind of puts their head on straight and realize, hey, this is kind of a divisional matchup, and this is kind of important. Let's actually, think about this one and play this the right way. I still don't think Miami's legitimate enough. I mean, yeah, they got Drake running in and doing all their hard work. But New England's still banged up, right? I mean, they still don't have Edelman, and newly signed Josh Gordon. They still haven't said if he's in or not. He's probably still hurt. And then Tyler told me Burkhead is hurt.
The latest I seen on Gordon was he's it looks like doubtful for that game, but
Yeah.
I mean, we are only at Wednesday, so you never know.
Right, and then also apparently Tyler informed me, and I haven't even looked at the Burkhead is apparently getting placed on IR. It's such a weird scenario for them, but I still think New England at the end of the day is going to come out of this one. Just because I'm still not a believer in Miami right now. I may eat those words, and I'll be very sad. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But I have New England winning this one, especially since it's back at home, 28-21. I still have it being somewhat close because there is some substance in Miami's offense.
And for my prediction, so you brought up a point earlier, Brendy, about Miami having New England's number, and I agree. The problem is they have their number when Miami's at home, and Miami, it's in this game. Thankfully for the Pats, is in Gillette Stadium, because you have that whole thing with we can't beat this in Miami, and you're already 1-2. To go 1-3 would be tough. Look, there's no chance in hell that Brady lets this team go 1-3. It's just not happening. He will. No. He's going to carry this team next week. I have the final score being 34-17. I agree with Bobby in the sense that the Dolphins haven't really played a great team yet. I mean, the Jets looked terrible against them. The Raiders started off hot. Jordy Nelson was insane in the first half. But yeah, they haven't played a real team yet. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the Pats have been banged up, as Bobby mentioned. I'm really waiting for Josh Gordon to come out. That's what I'm waiting for that team. But yeah, keep it short and simple. New England, there's Brady. There's no chance he lets them lose this game. Next game we have on the slate, as I mentioned before, is Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Brendy, go ahead with your prediction.
So this game certainly has, in my opinion, and I know it's early in the season, but it definitely has like a trap game feel to it. Like, you think, Steelers at home versus the Ravens. In your head you might think, okay, it should be a pretty easy Steelers victory. But every week there's always that sort of trap game that happens. And where everyone's predictions are just flat out wrong. And that's where I predict this one. And the main reason for that is because the Steelers really just look like they're on the verge of collapse. I think that organization is kind of an entire mess right now. And I don't believe it's...
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't believe that that's going to be resolved anytime soon. And I believe things are just going to continue to get worse for them. So I have Baltimore pulling a surprise win against the Steelers, 28-20. That's my upset pick.
All right, and Bobby, your pick.
Okay, so all right, I'm looking at this. So this is a rival matchup, right? So I feel like, no matter what issues they're both going through right now, Baltimore's in a little bit of disarray as well. They're starting to get it back a little bit. Pittsburgh is completely all over the place. Tomlin has completely lost it. So Pittsburgh's at home. So I have them winning this game. But here's my reason. I don't think Pittsburgh's defense is not all there like it used to be. Looking at the past 3 games, right? They tied with the Browns 21-21, right? They lost to the Chiefs 42-37. And then just barely scraped by the Bucks 30-27 this past week. Their defense is not there. And I think that's going to go in Baltimore's favor a little bit. However, I still think Pittsburgh is strong on offense because they've been high scoring all season so far, 21, 37, and 30 in the 3 weeks. So I think Pittsburgh is just going to basically run over Baltimore a little bit, going 35-20 in favor of the Steelers. I know the Le'Veon Bell situation is still happening, but Bill can throw. They still have some offensive power behind them. And as long as Ben is throwing the way he does and the way he's been for the season so far, I don't see how Baltimore can even rival that. So I got Pittsburgh winning this one pretty strongly.
So at the beginning of the year when I had my predictions, and this, of course, was me thinking Le'Veon Bell was going to be playing, I had Pittsburgh. I think I had them winning the AFC.
You did.
They've been a weird team this year.
I had them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. I
might have too.
I think I might have too. I don't even.
I had them winning.
I don't even remember. Anyway, my point of this is they've been a weird team this year because, example, last game, their defense comes out and gets 3 picks in the first half, and you're like, okay, they're gonna win this game easily. And then all of a sudden, Fitzmagic comes out in the second half and kind of tortures them a little bit and gets the game close again. Part of that also is because Fitzpatrick was really not great in that game in the first half, and he threw 3 picks right to him. But their defense is weird. Their offense has been Antonio Brown is always going to be the focal point there, but my guy Juju Smith-Schuster, he's been looking real good. He had a strong game last game. He was kind of Big Ben's go-to for a lot of that game. And he had himself a nice game, a lot of catches. So that offense is always a problem, even without Le'Veon. And then on the Baltimore side, so they played the Broncos last week, and watching that game for me, I don't think they necessarily won that game against the Broncos. I think the Broncos lost the game, if you know what I mean. They had a lot of shoot yourself in the foot moments. They had a block kick that they returned for a touchdown. Oh, wait. No, it's not, because there's a flag for an illegal block in the back. They have a 4th and 1 on the 5-yard line, Baltimore's 5-yard line, and a spot where they needed to score because the game was, basically over at that point. 12 men on the field. That cannot be happening. So Baltimore, honestly, I don't think they looked that impressive last week. I just think it was more of the Broncos sucking. I have the final score being 24-20 Pittsburgh, which now looking back on it, that might be a little low scoring. But Baltimore's defense has been pretty good this year, and that's what I have. But Flacco has looked okay this year. I mean, he's gotten better receivers, so that helps. We talked about that in the preview. So that kind of contributes to that. But yeah, I have the final score being 24-20. And then the last game is the Monday night game with the 3-0 Kansas City Chiefs visiting Mile High against the 2-1 Denver Broncos. Brendy, you can give your picks for this final game.
Right. So I don't really feel like a lot of us are going to spend too much time on this game, mainly because Patrick Mahomes right now appears to be the best quarterback in the NFL. From the first 3 weeks of the season, at least.
Yeah, I was going to say no question right now. He's the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. And going against a Denver team that, obviously has a lot of question marks. And I'm sorry that you have to sit and deal with this team for an entire season, Tyler. But no, seriously. But with that said, weird things tend to happen on Monday Night Football, so anything could happen. I just don't think that it's going to be this week. I've got Kansas City winning it quite handily, 34-10.
Bobby, go ahead.
Yeah, so Brendy basically covered all the points I want to mention. Mahomes is absolutely on fire. The Chiefs have been scoring have been having high point games going 38, 42, 38 in the last 3 weeks. Freaking ridiculous, right? And against notable teams. They beat the Chargers, they beat the Steelers, and then the 49ers, and that was the game where unfortunately Jimmy tore his ACL. So I don't see any slowdown here, right? And I don't think Denver's the team to do it. They play the Jacksonville next week, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but that may have a chance, but I don't think the Broncos are it. And like Brendy said, there's a lot of question marks with Denver right now. So I have Kansas City kind of winning this one in a bit of a landslide. I have 35-17 final.
I'll keep it short, but I'll give a little bit more insight on this game just because me being a Broncos fan and watching the games this year. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago with the defense that they had, which was insane. And unfortunately, it's just not the same anymore. Their pass rush is still there, but them losing Aqib Talib this summer is killing them. They signed Adam Pac-Man-Jones, who he fucking blows. And then he didn't even play last week. We also got we kind of had a tough week last week in terms of so he didn't play, and then our other cornerback Tremaine Brock goes out. So we were basically playing our 5th round pick this year, Isaac Yiadom at cornerback, and he was getting torched. Like it was terrible. So Patrick Mahomes is going to have a field day against if they don't, I don't know their statuses for this week. Hopefully they're back. They need them. The other thing that is huge, and this always happens when KC plays Denver, is that Denver struggles against covering the tight end, and Travis Kelce always has monster games against them. I expect the same thing. Especially the way Mahomes is playing. If he's open, he's going to get it to him. And then real quick, I'll just touch on the Broncos offense because Case Keenum is Mr. Checkdown Charlie. I think at one point last game, he had 15 completions for 76 or so yards, which is really terrible. He can't make a pass over 10 yards. Look, I want to be pleasantly surprised. I'm talking like this, and I'm not giving up all hope on my team. It's just that I think the Chiefs are really, they're such a good team. That offense is insane. Which is fun to say after the predictions we gave in week 1. But I don't think this is close. I think I actually have the biggest margin out of any of us. I think I have Kansas City winning 37-13.
Wow.
And those are
me and you are the same.
Okay, look, that if Kansas City puts up more than 20 points, we're screwed because, and that's very likely. We're just kind of, we won the first 2 games, but they were against pretty weak teams, and now we got the big boys coming up. So, this is a critical game, and like Brendy said, it's a Monday night in Mile High. Anything can happen, but I have the Chiefs winning. So anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up the show. Little bit of a long one this week. I say that every week, though. It's a podcast, whatever. So we have a special episode coming out that will release probably a day or 2 after the podcast is released. Me and Bobby are going to do an NHL season preview, and this is part of a plan that we will do this for every the major sports. We're going to do season previews for and have their own episode. We have a lot to talk about.
And real quick, worth noting that it's not going to be an episode of the podcast. It'll be
it's going to be
an entity on the same channel here.
And it's an extra episode, so we're not going to be missing an episode of the podcast. It's just an extra thing we're doing. We have a lot to talk about, so hopefully everybody's excited for that. And if you want to follow us for updates and stuff like that, we're going to post our picks. Brendy will post the picks as he always does. You can follow us at Come Play Network. That's it. I think we had a good show again, boys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
And me and Bobby will see you for the NHL seasons preview, but the next time we will see you will be for episode 9. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, like it. If you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.